the USA, wherever you may be. Today we're talking about a very relevant topic that applies to everybody everywhere, though some of the specifics will vary from state to state, city to city. And this has to do with when you're renting or when you're leasing and how you're dealing with your landlords and the powers they have and the things that they can do and the things you can do. So tell me a little bit. It seems that after 8 years, all of a sudden your landlord decided to sell your house?
Yes. First of all, let me say thank you, everybody that's listening and taking the time out of your day to listen to all of this.
So we appreciate you being here.
At the end, I'm hoping that maybe in the comment section you will leave some of your stories.
Yes.
And maybe it will help somebody.
Please leave comments that tell us what's going on with you. That maybe you can help other people with your experiences.
Right. Yes, I moved into a house, and I was there 8 years. And I was also on Section 8. Well, during the course of that time, I became really good friends with the landlords.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I had kind of known them from the past, and I think that's maybe why we got the house in the first place.
Uh-huh.
But when you're there in a house that long, or an apartment, or whatever,
yes,
you kind of start doing things to it as far as the yard, landscaping, trees, flowers, even structures around it like carports and things.
Right.
Well, that's probably not a good idea,
Mm-hmm.
because one day after that time had passed, the landlord came in and he said, well, we've decided to sell the house. Okay, I never really thought I would hear those words from him.
Wow.
Because this particular couple, they have several rent houses.
Yeah.
And they also have a son, which was, from the way I understood it, probably going to inherit them.
Right.
Or if something happened to one of them, the son would step up. Because the son was in my house a couple of times with the father.
Yes.
And that's the way it looked.
Uh-huh.
So I never saw this coming.
Right.
And it's not the fact that they did it because it's their house.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting older.
Yes.
It's the way that they did it.
Right.
So
Sudden and abrupt.
Not only that though, it's the fact that you're still living there.
Uh-huh.
Well, they're trying to sell it. You're trapped. Basically,
Yeah.
So you can find another place to go.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of in the trap situation.
You mentioned always having a lease and to read the fine print and always renew that lease. Can you talk a little about that?
Always have a lease and always keep it effective. We had one lease, maybe two, as far as a renew during the first year or 2 years that we were there, and then after that he stopped doing it. And because he knew we were going to take care of the place and that we were good renters, we paid on time or ahead of time our part of the rent.
Yeah.
And so he stopped doing that. Well, at the end, when they decided to sell, that made things a little different, or it would for just about anybody.
Yeah.
Because with the lease, you at least have until the term of the lease expires to live in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they pretty much can just give you 30 days to get out, which none of that happened in our case.
Uh-huh.
Our landlords were really nice as far as they just let us stay there as long as we wanted to and nothing changed.
Yeah.
The only thing was, I'm not so sure that they just didn't do it a little bit on purpose, because I had made a lot of improvements to the house. In fact, they had even made the comments that I was going to have to stop because the tax value of the house had changed so much that it made their taxes go up.
Uh-huh.
So when you are in this situation and you have to live in the house and you're on Section 8 and you have rescue animals, it makes it very hard to find a place, especially in a small town like I live in. So it was about 3 months, 3.5 months before I finally did relocate somewhere else. But during that time, it was a nightmare.
Let's talk a little bit about, you were mentioning fixing up and doing repairs to the property. What about landscaping, carports, etc.? Is that a yes or a no from the point of view of the renter?
I would have to say no. No matter how much you want to, just don't do it, because for one, if it's attached to the structure that you're renting, you can't take it with you. Now that's in the state of Texas. It may be different
in other states.
But in the state of Texas, if it's attached to the structure, if you've built something in the house or onto the house, you cannot remove it.
Yeah. Now, Section 8 can or cannot help you if the landlord decides to sell.
In my state, they can't do anything for you as far as stalling it or really anything. Their hands are tied. They can't do anything for you.
But that may differ in other states.
It could.
It could. All right. Now, a realtor may ask the renter before a property is sold certain things. What are the things you have to do in terms of that?
That's where the nightmare began. Because the first thing that we were asked to do was to meet with the realtor. Which that day we really became real estate agents ourselves.
Wow.
Because they asked us to stage the house as in display ready to be shown, which means that we had to remove anything that was like a wallet or toothpaste, toothbrush, dishes, anything that looked like someone actually lived there. It had to look like someone did not live there. And that was pretty rough.
I can imagine.
Because it was right before Christmas time, and
it impacted your daily life.
For the 3.5 months, yes. Like I said, it was a nightmare. Because you have to just wait, and they call you, and they make appointments for people to come and look through the house, which, as these people are going through your house making comments, and you really want to tell them something, you can't.
Yeah.
At one point, we were asked to stand outside under the carport or in the driveway and not be in the house at all. But there was a reason for that, because someone from California had decided they wanted to buy the house. It was listed online. So what that meant is they sent an inspection team in.
Oh, wow.
It did a 3.5-hour inspection on the house, and when they did that, the gentleman that was running it came into my kitchen door. He walked into the living room. He sat myself and my partner down. He said, "Have you guys been sick lately?" And I said, "No." And then I said, "How much is under there?" Because I knew exactly what he was talking about, because one of the bedroom floors was not stable. It was saggy in spots, and it had a really bad flooring through most of the house, because it was an older house. In fact, it was an army barracks to begin with that had been moved there, and they remodeled it into a home. So I know it was older. And I said, "Well, not really." And he said, "Well, let me show you this." And he showed me on his tablet black mold and white mold, which I really didn't understand what white mold was at the time. And I knew what black mold was. So in our bathroom, it was in the walls, in the floors, what he showed me the shocking pictures of was how much was underneath the bedroom floors.
Wow.
It
Wow.
literally looked like a black fur boa on each one of the boards underneath the floor.
Yeah.
It was that moist and wet under there, and it had just bloomed this mold. And
Wow.
we were sleeping on that every single night.
Wow.
He said it was about, if you clean the attic up and you clean the floors up and you clean the bathroom walls, as far as just mold removal, about $50,000 worth of damage.
Oh, wow.
Okay, having said that, we had to keep quiet when the people came through and not tell any of them.
Oh,
so when
geez.
there's families walking through with these young kids and things like that, and we're carrying them, and if you want to say something, but you can't, because then they could just pitch you out.
Yeah. You really worked out between a rock and a hard place. I can see it was a trap.
Yes.
You talk about people coming in all the time and you have to just deal with it. What about people that are not even looking to buy? They're just there to steal something. Did you ever have somebody pick something up?
Yes, I did. I lost a tape recorder and a couple of other small items. I'm not sure whether it was children that picked it up or if it was adults or what. But you have to look out for that.
And of course, the sad part about the whole situation is the minute the realtor puts that sign in your yard, people will just stop all the time asking questions, I bet.
Yes, they will. The thing is, I had cameras in my home and on the outside of it. So I was able to watch from the driveway on my phone to make sure after that point when the items come up stolen, because I didn't really want to stand outside after that happened and just let people come in and steal anything. But a lot of people are just doing that to scope out a house and either to come back later and rob it or to see what they can pick up that's just lying around. They're not interested in buying the home at all. That does exist. So just be careful when people come in.
Mm-hmm.
You might tell your landlord up front that I will not step outside. I'm going to stay in here as long as it's just the realtor, because what was happening was the realtor would be in one room showing the wife something, and the husband and kids would be somewhere else in the house, and I could tell on camera. I don't know how I missed the tape recorder showing on the camera, but I did.
Wow. Wow.
Plus, it was Christmas time, and there was a small child at one point that was unwrapping my gifts under the Christmas tree.
Oh, my
There wasn't
goodness.
anything I could do about that.
Oh, my goodness. Well, do you have any final words of advice to anybody that finds himself in that situation?
Well, I could go on and on about the things that happened, but the hard part about it was we were trapped in the situation. We couldn't find a place that would not only take Section 8, but the rescue animals. And if you're on Section 8 or you have rescue animals, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I couldn't give up either one, actually.